Well, how are you?
Good. So I took some time to go over what you gave me in your food intake. So now we can just spend some time and talk about, concerns that you might have or improvements we could make to help you lose those 15 pounds you were thinking about.
Okay.
Okay, so in general, based on what you told me, do you have any idea, do you have any ideas about where might be a problem area or where you could improve your diet?
Yeah, I think probably quantity is the number one thing, as well as um, probably the quality of the food. Having Captain Crunch for breakfast. At my age and looking what I'm trying to do with the losing the 15 pounds, I think I can do better than that. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, I agree with you about the quantity. We can specifically talk about that. In terms of the quality, I think you're doing really great. Like, looking at it, you do have fruit every day, which is fantastic. You have quite a few vegetables, or enough vegetables over the course of the day, which is also really good.
Mm-hmm.
You drink a lot of milk, which is rare for someone your age, so that's awesome as well. So I think in general I'd want to focus more on the quantity because that might be a little bit easier to change because it's just a simple reduction as opposed to changing what you're eating.
Okay.
So in general, for breakfast you had cereal, and I'm wondering, do you feel like you can cut back on the cereal?
I probably could. Maybe moving my snack up time-wise. That way I'd be able to have a smaller amount of breakfast and then not feel as hungry by lunchtime if I have an apple or a banana an hour later or an hour and a half later. So I definitely think, obviously, going from 2 bowls, I can very easily go to 1 bowl of cereal very easily. So.
And also, just suggestion, if I don't know if you think this would be possible, but if you could add some protein to your breakfast, it would keep you full for a little bit longer. And do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, during the winter time when it's colder, I usually gravitate more towards oatmeal, hot oatmeal,
Okay.
as a breakfast rather than cold cereal.
Okay.
And I know that oatmeal has some more protein than just cold cereal, so I definitely think I can do more of that.
Yeah, oatmeal would be a really great option, just in terms of, like you said, have a little bit more protein and maybe keep you full for a little bit longer so you can eat less of it.
Okay.
So in general, let's talk about just cutting back a little bit on the cereal or moving your snack up and going from there.
Okay.
For breakfast. Also, with the lunch, I know you mentioned you go to Subway. Is that an often occurrence?
Not particularly. My current state right now is I'm kind of in limbo between school and work.
Okay.
So once I start work, which will be in about a week, I'll be out of the house.
Okay.
So
Great.
I foresee myself brown bagging it more.
Okay.
Probably having more cold cuts will become the norm. But at the same time, it can be very easy to just go out and buy lunch as well. Because it's tough to prepare a lunch the night before. So those are some things that I guess I should be aware of. But again, things will be changing a little bit. I won't be eating at Subway every day. So.
Okay. I mean, in terms of packing your lunch, you mentioned cold cuts. Just making your own sandwich would really help with the portion size too. It would make the portion of the sandwich smaller as opposed to a large stuff at Subway.
Right.
I mean, the choice you made at Subway is a very good choice. The only thing is maybe ask them to cut back on dressing a little bit.
Okay.
Because I am noticing a lot of maybe unnecessary fat over the course of your day.
Okay.
So, or even a different dressing, one that's maybe a little bit lighter.
Okay.
Do you like any other dressings there?
I haven't really explored. Some of the dressings that I do like are heavier dressings.
Okay.
Whether they're mayonnaise based or, so that's what I again gravitate towards. So something that I could explore a little bit more next time. If I go to Subway next time. So.
Yeah, and I mean Subway, they definitely put quite a bit on there. So even if you ask them to go light on it,
okay.
Or a good tip is to say, only put it on one side of the bread. If you're getting mayonnaise or a dressing, don't put it on both sides. Just cut back a little bit, because sometimes that can be subjective in terms of if you say go light on it.
Okay.
So, okay. And also, another part of the fat is the cheese.
Okay.
Maybe just, I know that you probably don't have cheese every day, twice a day, but in this particular day you did. Is that something?
I mean, typically I wouldn't have it with dinner unless it was a main part of the recipe or the dish. During lunch, I see myself having cheese almost every day just because if I'm having a cold cut sandwich, I'd have turkey and cheese, chicken and cheese. So, I would definitely become aware of it more on the dinner side of things rather than the lunch. So,
yeah. I mean, definitely keep it on your sandwich. That's great.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe just a little bit less over the course of the entire day, or even over the course of the week. We can look at it like that.
Okay.
So, okay, and also maybe the dessert after dinner, is that something that you normally have?
Not typically. It can range from a traditional dessert like pie to, a couple handfuls of chips. So sometimes I do feel hungry before I go to bed, so I'll have something to hold me over. But I generally don't have a huge dessert.
Okay.
It's not something that I would really be too concerned about, but I would, again, continue to watch myself and make sure that I don't do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're hungry before you go to bed, certainly have something to eat. If dinner, especially if you're going to bed later, maybe just, I mean, can you think of any other options that maybe would satisfy you before bed?
I mean, growing up in high school, I would have a bowl of cereal a lot of times. I don't know if that's a good option. And maybe a yogurt. To be honest, I can't really think of any other options.
Yeah, I mean, something like yogurt, even if you had another piece of fruit before bed, a small bowl of cereal would also be a better option than, the pie or something for chips and something of that nature.
Okay.
I also thought it was great that you don't really do very much. You snack, but your snacks seem to be like pretty healthy snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something really great. Definitely keep that up. One more thing is the eating in front of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of like any disadvantages of eating in front of the TV?
Probably, if I have a certain amount of food, I'm not really paying attention to how much I'm eating.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm sitting at a table, I'm much more cognizant of what I'm eating and how much of it. So that's one thing I guess I could be aware of, but I don't know if that's all that I could improve on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just try to, if you're used to eating in front of the TV, just make sure you put everything, on a plate. A good amount, a solid amount of food, but not too much, or ever like bring the bag in, or just have all the food in front of you, or just eat from it. Like put it on a plate and bring it in. I mean, that's fine if that's your routine, and that's great. But make sure that you're not like eating mindlessly, because sometimes that can lead you to eat more, and you're not really noticing the fullness cues.
Yeah, and again, going back in a week, that probably won't be the routine.
Okay.
Just because I won't have time to have breakfast in front of the TV. I'll have to have a quick breakfast before work. I obviously won't be watching TV during work for lunch. And dinner time is generally time to sit at the table.
Okay.
So, again, I think the TV has to do more with my freedom of time that I have right now, but I won't be having in the future.
Okay. And then finally, dinner. The only suggestion I would have, again, is with the portion size, is just cutting back a little bit. So this is the half a cup,
Okay.
and a portion of pasta is a half a cup.
Okay.
So if having 2 cups, that just adds a lot of carbohydrates to your day, and if you can maybe just cut back, what you're eating is good, but just maybe like half of the pasta you had, or even the chicken you had.
Okay.
So usually the chicken should be about the size of the palm of your hand in terms of a serving for a meal.
Okay.
Does that sound like something that would work for you?
I mean, it sounds reasonable. I think, I've been so reliant on having a bigger dinner to, fill me up at the end of the day that I'd have to get used to having a smaller meal. So I guess I would, if I'm going to try to maintain similar quantities, find higher quality foods to fill in what I'm taking out in terms of pasta or chicken.
Yeah, that sounds great. So in terms of what we talked about today, do you want to pick maybe 3 things that we can work on until your next session?
Yeah, I think working on, you know, maybe if timing of my meals is off, if I could do something better there. Again, I think quantity was kind of a shock to just actually recall what I had. I generally don't stop and think what I have. I just eat whatever I feel like. And also looking to get better quality foods into my diet. You know, having a piece of fried chicken parm doesn't strike me as the best thing to have. So, you know, what are my options that are, again, tasty and without having to sacrifice, taste just to make it healthy. So I would say try to find some balance there.
Yeah, I mean, even with the chicken parm, if that's a really, really like, then maybe try and do it baked, or instead of fried, do it baked, or even use a piece of grilled chicken and do the same topping.
Okay.
So let's focus for the next week on, let's specifically focus on the quantity, and maybe especially at breakfast,
Okay.
and maybe subbing out some of that cereal for a protein, or a piece of fruit, or, like you mentioned, oatmeal.
Okay.
And then in terms of the quality, maybe the little extras that we talked about, like the dessert, subbing that out for something a little bit more, with more, nutritional benefit, like you mentioned, the yogurt or something of that nature. Does that sound feasible to you?
Yeah.
Great. Well, great. So definitely work on those, and we'll talk about those the next time you come in.
Okay.
If you want to make another session, you can make one on the way out. But it was really great talking to you, and good luck.
Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.